living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feeling so right. With diet-free life, the health features lose by.
What's up, everybody? This is Robert Ferguson. Welcome to Diet-Free Life. And I am excited and delighted, as always, to share with you information that I believe will be helpful. Now, before I dive into it, I just want to invite you to scroll down. And when you like, subscribe if you haven't, if you're on YouTube, etc. But there's a link to an article that I wrote based on what we're going to talk about today. And so the title is Egg Quality, Not Price, is What Truly Matters. Now, of course, how much money you spend on eggs does matter. Now, if you came to my house, you will notice that I always have eggs. And the eggs that I have in my house are pasture-raised eggs. And those are the only eggs that I will buy. And if I can't afford those eggs, of course, I may not even buy the eggs. But I'm going to buy pasture-raised eggs. I'm going to prioritize things like grass-fed butter. When the opportunity is clear, I'm going to get grass-fed meats. When I buy fish, it's going to be wild caught. Wild fish, not farm raised. Why? Because for years I have known the importance of the omega-6 to omega-3 ratios. And I know that most people are not getting an adequate amount of omega-3. And I know that when you have that imbalance, you are way more susceptible to many, M-A-N-Y, multiple health conditions. And did you know that most people don't even know this? Well, that's the fact, and that's the truth. And so today we're going to talk about a few things. But what I want to do is I want to play a video for you. And I want you to watch this video. And the video is going to be, let me see here, Sinopolis. It's a video that I want you to watch that is going to teach you a bit about the importance of the omega-6 to omega-3 ratios. Okay? So it's a very short video.
Very important is the composition of the fat, the essential fatty acids, omega-6 and omega-3. And it's really frightening to think that after all the research funded with taxpayers' money, today, the latest dietary guidelines for Americans do not mention the importance of the ratio of omega-6, omega-3, or the concept of a balance. It's not a matter that you have low amounts of omega-3s. It's the fact that a high amount of omega-6 and a low amount of omega-3, as it is in Western diets today, they influence the function of every cell membrane in the body. And the cell membranes consist of both omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. And it is important that they are balanced.
Now, this is Dr. Sinopolis. She's 92 years of age. She's been published almost 400 times, cited all over the world for the work that she's done. Don't take my word for it. She just said it right there. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to help expand on that so you have a better understanding specifically as it pertains to eggs. Now, I'm a little hesitant, and I have talked about this in the past, but I am a little hesitant because that means the more educated you are, when I go to my local grocery stores, guess what? More people are going to be buying pasture-raised eggs. There's a good thing about it because it's helping you, but it's not a good thing. And for those of you who are eating cage-free eggs, free-range eggs, I would say stop it. Now, if you can't afford the other eggs that are pasture-raised, I get it. Do what you got to do. But when you can afford it, if you can move things around, you want to position yourself where you're buying pasture-raised eggs. Okay, so the article is there. Read it. There's references there. Everything is cited, print it out, and share it with other people. And then I'm also going to share with you a way that you can put yourself in a position where you're not more likely to be out of balance as it pertains to what we're talking about. Now, we do have this 8-week fat loss challenge. I am in the middle of it. We're almost at 28 days. Woohoo! And if those of you who are interested in losing weight, if you want to feel better, if you want to learn how to eat, I want to encourage you to come and learn how to eat. That's what happens when you do the 8-week fat loss challenge, or schedule a free consultation with me. Or maybe someone sent you this video and talk to them. Maybe they're a coach and they just wanted you to watch this and then talk to them. They'll give you a free consultation and you can learn how they can help you and coach you to living your best and your healthiest life. All right. So let's get into it. Let's take a step. Okay, now, as you can see here, there's 3 different eggs. You have cage-free, you have free-range, and you have pasture-raised. Now, I was inspired to write this article because I saw a lady who I know. She looks like she's fit, so she's not overweight. I've never heard her tell me that she's had like an autoimmune condition. I'm not going to mention her name. She knows a little bit about nutrition, but she's, quite uninformed. And I watch her post many things about nutrition, and I would say 80% of the time she is completely way off and has no idea. And she makes a lot of money. She's very successful in business, her and her husband. But they're a prime example of how there are people that look like they're healthy, but they don't realize it. But the day is going to come sooner than later, unfortunately, where things are going to show up and they're going to question because they don't see it coming, because they assume that when you look a certain way that you're fit, that you're healthy, and that's not. And just because you haven't shown up on the radar with various health conditions doesn't mean it ain't going to happen next week, next month, or in the very near future. Keep that in mind, because I meet a lot of people who believe that your weight and what you look like is indicative of health, and they couldn't be further from the truth. Now, one of the leading reasons why many people are finding themselves with autoimmune conditions, finding themselves dealing with inflammation in the body, not as healthy as they thought, and we're talking everything to include cancer, they're out of balance when it comes to their omega-6 to omega-3 ratios. And you heard that from Dr. Simopoulos. And I could bring up a whole bunch of other doctors and show you the same thing. Now, my kids, when they come to my house, we eat pasture-raised eggs. When they're other places' houses, they can taste the difference. If you ever have a friend that, or go to the farmer's market and you buy eggs where the chickens can roam and run around, that's pasture-raised eggs, right? So the hens are running out there foraging for themselves and getting all the food on their own. Nobody's feeding them. And those insects, at first you're like, oh, I don't want to eat something that's eating insects and worms and stuff. No. Eating close to nature, the way we were all designed to consume food, puts you in a position where you get the ultimate benefit. If you don't know what I'm talking about already, you just took your health to the next level. Because even though we're talking about eggs, again, this pertains to how cows are fed. Some are fed with grains. Some are fed with grass. Grass-fed is where it's at if you want better health. And at the end of the article, I do talk about how you can quickly and easily get tested. Okay. So let's take a look. I got a couple pictures here I want to share with you guys. So here is a gentleman, and if you look to the upper left, you have cage free. Now I know a lot of you are like, wait a minute, cage free, but hell, it's a lot of them right next to each other. Well, they just said cage free, and they're feeding those hens. And what are they feeding them? They're not feeding them insects and worms. They're feeding them grains, soy pellets. So then what happens is the cage-free egg becomes more imbalanced, has way more omega-6 in it compared to omega-3, like a 20-to-1 ratio. That's not good. You really want to be a 1-to-1 ratio. And you're like, well, this is new information. My doctor hasn't mentioned this. Of course, your doctor is my client. Many doctors are my clients because they're not nutritionists and they haven't been in the space. Same as I can't go and do a heart transplant. I mean, I wouldn't trust me to go in and put stents in your arteries. That's not what I do. But I would go to your doctor who does that or specializes in that, right? Now, when you look to the right at the top, you can see that's organic. Organic does not mean pasture-raised. Organic just means that they're fed organic foods, and it doesn't mean it's all completely organic. So don't get caught up in organic when it comes to like the eggs that you're eating. And then you have free range. Look at that. Bottom left. Unbelievable. Packed house. Pasture raised is when they get to roam. They get let out and they can run around and find their food. They get to forage for their own food. And that's what you want. Okay, so in the article, which I have right here in front of me, I'm going to read through some of it. And if you have any questions, I'm open to you. But I wanted to highlight and let you get a look at what the eggs look like. I grew up not eating pasture-raised eggs. We ate eggs you got at the store. Free range, cage-free, whatever. And they were very yellow. And when I went overseas for the first time, and they had chickens that were just running around eating and laying eggs, when I first looked at the egg yolk, I was like, oh, I didn't want it. Because I had been indoctrinated to eat eggs that look like the real yellow ones. But the eggs that are closer to nature, the ones that are going to have less omega-6 fatty acids in it and closer to balance with omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids, is going to be more of an orange color. And it was tough at first because in my mind, I was so accustomed to yellow eggs that you get from the store when you crack them. And when it was orange and dark, and I was like, oh, and then sometimes the eggshell would be brown and different colors and dirty. I was like, oh, because I'm so indoctrinated to eat commercialized eggs. There's so many more benefits to getting an egg that's close to nature. And if you're going to buy eggs in the store, unless you can get them at farmer's market, or maybe you have a friend that has their own hens. One of my goals in life is to have my own hens. I can't wait to have my own hens. And I'm going to eat my own eggs. And then with my neighbors, I'll sell them some eggs because they're going to be like putting out eggs so often that you're not going to be able to eat them all. Now, I know some of you are going, well, I can't eat all that cholesterol. Well, you're stuck in the mud because, yes, there's cholesterol in egg yolks, but that's all been changed. So if you didn't get the memo, here's the reality. Eating cholesterol does not cause problems with your cholesterol. Matter of fact, eating cholesterol is helping you in a big way. Your testosterone levels are better. Your mental clarity is better. Your cells throughout your body needs and wants cholesterol. And again, I talk about cholesterol all the time. When people are taking statins, they're just so uninformed. It just blows my mind. Smart people are on statins to lower their cholesterol because they got afraid because they're uninformed. They're ignorant. They don't know any better, right? They just go by what their doctor tells them. And they're like taking these statins to lower their cholesterol because they're afraid. They're fearful that they could have a heart attack or a stroke or a blood clot because they equate cholesterol with being bad. And again, that's a whole nother conversation. We talk a lot about that in our food as medicine course. I talk about that on a regular basis. It just breaks my heart of the ignorance when it comes to like food, specifically cholesterol, statins, all of that. Okay. So you want pasture-raised eggs. It won't take rocket scientists for you to figure that out. Okay. Now, on this slide, we see that we're inside of a barn. Now, they're not inside of a cage, so that's cage-free eggs. They're not in a cage. Well, some of them may be, but that could be a cage-free egg. And it could also be free-range egg, right? So it's a little bit of a room. So here we go. We got these hens in cages. They have to have a certain amount of like space, but they're in cages. So it's really scary. Like you have to Google and look into it if you want. And I didn't want to share all of that data because I feel like it's a waste. Because at the end of the day, what you want to know is what eggs are going to be best for my overall health. And for your overall health would be farmer's market, where you're consuming eggs that come from a hen that had room to forage, room to go out and eat and do its own thing, wasn't fed pellets, wasn't fed grains, ran around and just figured out how to get its food. That's what you want. I don't recommend cage-free eggs or free-range eggs to anybody. I wouldn't recommend those eggs to anyone. Now, when I go to a restaurant and I want eggs, let's say I go to Denny's, they may not have pasture-raised eggs. So I got to make a decision at that point. If I really want the eggs, could I do it? Okay, it's not my norm. It's not my staple. So I'm okay with it. Now, what I will ask them is, hey, can you cook it in butter? Now, unfortunately, they don't have grass-fed butter at Denny's. They're just going to use regular butter, which means it's also going to be higher in omega-6 compared to if it was grass-fed butter. So I got to make that decision. But you see what I mean? Like when you're informed, you get to make decisions that you know can contribute to your health or take away from it. When you're not informed, you're like a zombie. You're just walking around and don't know and just guessing. And then you go on Facebook and like my friend posted, cage-free eggs or this. And I'm thinking, as healthy as she says she is or wants to be, that is the last thing you want to be like promoting on Facebook. But it was her ignorance that put her in that. And that's not being mean. Ignorance literally means unaware, uninformed. That's it. So it was her ignorance that had her sharing cage-free eggs. Man, I'm so happy that I'm aware of this. And I'm even more happy that I can share with people who are looking to be healthier. Imagine getting in balance with your omega-6 to 3 ratios, which if you want to better understand that, in the article, I have a whole breakdown of exactly how everybody can get tested in the privacy of your home. Or you can tell, if someone sent you this video, reach back out to them and say, hey, all right, how do I get tested? And then they'll tell you. You can do it in the privacy of your home. And it's more legit than most things you can get from your doctor. So that is just the reality of what it is. And now, as you can see, this is what we call pasture-raised eggs. They come from these kind of hens. Look at them. Freedom. Freedom. Las Vegas. Oh, man. Oh, boy. And then I have here. So let me just go back. Let me go live with you guys here. I'm looking at, when you look at the benefits of omega-6 to 3 from pasture-raised eggs, you also get a higher level of vitamin D. Why is that? Why would you get more vitamin D from an egg that comes from a hen that's pasture-raised? Oh, I know why. They get more sunlight. They're not stuck in a barn. They're not stuck in a cage. You also get increased vitamin A and E compared to cage counterparts. And then you get more antioxidants like lutein and other ones that help with eye health. You ever wonder like why it is that we live in a world, in America at least, in Canada, where more people have dry eye compared to like other countries where they don't have this same challenge? Look at how the food is sourced. Look at what we're eating on a regular basis. So anyway, I want to go back and I want to play this video one more time before I say goodbye. This is Dr. Simopoulos. Listen to her words clearly, okay?
Very important is the composition of the fat, the essential fatty acids, omega-6 and omega-3. And it's really frightening to think that after all the research funded with taxpayers' money, today, the latest dietary guidelines for Americans do not mention the importance of the ratio of omega-6, omega-3, or the concept of a balance. It's not a matter that you have low amounts of omega-3s. It's the fact that a high amount of omega-6 and a low amount of omega-3, as it is in Western diets today, they influence the function of every cell membrane in the body. And the cell membranes consist of both omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, and it is important that they are balanced.
You know, I don't even know what else to say. It's funny, I was talking today with one of my coaches and clients and dear friend, Miss Sandy, and we got to the point where it's like, man, how do we get people to understand? Then we both realize it really comes down to us accepting the reality that that's the answer, is that people are not going to understand, and we need to understand that. Right? So it's like, so the problem is not with the people. The problem is in the fact that we are not understanding that they're never going to understand. Now, that's not everybody. Some of you do want to understand. So for those of you who do want to understand, now you understand. And you have an article that you can read, and I wrote it because I wanted you to be aware. And when you go to the store, sometimes the eggs are about the same price and sometimes they're not. But that's a good place to start when it comes to your grocery shopping, is to know the difference between range-free, free range, and cage-free, and pasture-raised eggs. That's a good place to start. When you're informed, then you can choose the type of eggs that you know are better for you and your family. Some of you have kids who are challenged with autism, ADHD. Well, a big part of that challenge that they're experiencing is due to not having an adequate amount of omega-3 and getting too much omega-6 in their food intake. Well, changing the eggs can play a huge role in the overall health of your kid. So if you don't want to do it for you, do it for them. You know what I mean? Like, wow. So anyway, I share because I care. The article is there. I wanted to like get up there and share something with you guys today. I was going to have somebody join me, but next time there will be somebody. Other than that, if you have questions, you can reach out to me. My email is provided under the description or in the content area. And if you have questions and you're catching the replay of this, post your questions. I do go back and I do take time to kind of look and see what people are posting. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance to share information with you that I believe can be beneficial for you now and for the rest of your life. And if you want to learn more, right, about getting tested and learn more about the importance of omega-6 to 3, or learn how to improve your overall health, lose weight, reach out to me for a free consultation. Reach out to the person who shared this video. Maybe they're one of our coaches and they can help you out. But reach out to somebody. You don't have to do it alone, and you can be successful. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Again, my name is Robert Ferguson. Thank you for joining me here at Diet for Life. I share because I care. And until the next one, which will be mañana, and we got a whole bunch of positive updates coming. So make sure you don't miss. Check in when you can. And when you can't, then you can when you can. The same as Sandy and I realize that sometimes you got to just accept that there's not much you can do. And that's part of the solution, is accepting that, because we don't want unwanted stress on our own lives, because we want to help everybody. We really want to help everybody. And I'm not going to give up on that, but I'm also going to always remind myself to breathe and understand that you can't save everybody, but you can help somebody. Okay. Thank you, guys. Until the next one. Peace out.
No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With Diet for Life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see it through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feeling so right.